Good morning and welcome to JLCAR. Senator Lang is delayed, so we will get started. I will ask Senator Innes to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now that we have convened, we have Senator Innes and Long with us, myself, Representative Lynn, and Representative McGuire. I will seat Representative Hacken Phillips for Representative Grauda. And that gives us a quorum. Next up is the minutes. If anybody would like, could you tell me what I should say on the minutes? Running on. Okay. Move to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, perfect. If there's any discussion, if not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved. Next, we'll get to the consent agenda. We have removed 2 items from the consent agenda. Item 2025-25 on Board of Podiatry and item 2025-36 on the Guardian Ad Litem Board. Yes. So with that, I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Now we will address the Board of Podiatry 2025-25. If there's anybody who would like to come speak.
Okay, these are organizational rules, the Podiatry 100s. The proposal makes changes to those rules. We had no comments on the proposal, but we understand that there's a concern with the deletion of the section on subcommittees, that the board will no longer have any subcommittees. We initially didn't read it that way because this is a repeal of an investigative subcommittee, but it does appear that the boards may not have investigative authority anymore. And so that's the reason why it was pulled off consent, and the board and OPLC are here to answer those questions.
Thank you. If you could, I guess I don't know if Representative McGuire has particular questions on this, or if you want to say if the Board of Podiatry is acceptable to get rid of all subcommittees, and if that is the intent of how it was written.
Yes, that's the way I read it, and I wanted to make sure that the board didn't have any other non-investigative subcommittees that it was working with.
Sure. So good morning. My name is Nicholas Fry. I am the general counsel for OPLC. As Attorney Reeves mentioned, this was based off of 106, which became effective on January 7th of 2003. It was the implementing statute for it was RSA 315:10 Roman numeral 2, which was repealed on October 3rd, 2023 in relation to the changes that came under HB 655. The specific language in that statute afforded the board the ability to appoint legal counsel. I'm probably going to butcher this a little bit, but podiatric advisors or other investigators for investigations and disciplinary hearings. And obviously 310.9 supplanted that authority when that came into existence. So there does not appear to be, with respect to that rule, any statute that exists at this time that would support a subcommittee for disciplinary hearings or investigations.
Correct, but what if the board wants to have a subcommittee to investigate training requirements or something else that's within its scope?
Yes, so we did look through the statutory scheme as a whole, and there did not appear to be any statute that could be used by the board to implement, interpret, or make specific a statute of the agency.
Well, that's interesting. It would seem that the board, as a board, should have the authority to create subcommittees of itself in order to, work on focused things within its scope of authority.
I certainly appreciate that. I'm just using the language from 541A:1 Roman numeral 15, which is the definition of a rule, which requires a statute that can be implemented, interpreted, or made specific. by the agency, and there doesn't appear to be any specific language. So if you look at some of the other board schemes that exist, for example, the Board of Nursing, they have specific language that provides for the ability to have subcommittees. And so in the absence of that language, when compared to other boards, it doesn't appear that there's any statutory authority with respect to that specific board.
Thank you. We'll have to change some statute.
Thank you.
So Doug, when you add that to our list on our Excel spreadsheet of legislative fixes we need, any
Yes,
further
Senator,
questions?
I would say it probably belongs in the general rules for licensing boards because every board should be able to do that.
We'll take that up as a legislative item. Further questions for the witness?
Before we vote, would we like to seat Senator Magoo as an alternate? He's an alternate.
Yep, we got to set Senator Magoo for Senator Ward. Any further discussions on 2525? Is there a motion to approve? It's been moved by Representative McGuire, seconded by Representative Leon. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, the item is approved. Moving on to 2536.
Yeah, so this one is regarding the training for court-appointed special advocates or CASA advocates. We only had one editorial comment on this proposal. The proposal is a single rule stating that CASA individuals must adhere to the provisions of GAL 300, which is on certification requirements, the 400s on continued status, and the 500s on ethical requirements. From our discussions with the OPLC yesterday, it sounds like there's a dispute between CASA and the board as to the applicability of the rule. And so the rule as proposed is what they agreed upon. It does sound like the committee members may need to have a discussion with the board around that disagreement between CASA and the board. And that's all we have. We had no other comments on this one.
Any comments from the agency?
Representative McGuire, did you have any questions around this?
Yes, the statute was changed to require this in 2007. And I'm very curious as to what's been happening in the 18 years since then.
Fair question. So I can tell you from my perspective, I've been at OPLC since about 2021. Our current rulemaker, Ms. Wheeler, she's been there since February of 2024. And she had the board initiate in July of 2024 to adopt the rules. We have had some quorum issues. I think in the last 41 months, we've been able to make quorum, I think 16 times. And then we also had, as Attorney Reeves was mentioning, there was a substantive discussion between CASA and the board that took some time, a little bit more than regular. But as far as why it took so long from 2007, I can't give you a good answer to that other than to say that it should have been done sooner, and we apologize for that.
Further discussion from committee members? Seeing none, do I have a motion? Move to approve. Is there a second? It's been moved by Senator Lang, seconded by Senator Ennis to approve rule number 2536. Are there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the rule's adopted. Moving on, Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you want to seat Representative Potenza for Senator Reardon?
Sure, is there any House members missing?
No, we've already filled the House seats.
Okay, sure. So Representative Potenza will be sitting in for Representative Weird, or Senator Weird. Moving on to 2560, Department of Health and Human Services, home visit for postpartum and newborn assessment.
So the only comment that I had on this was that the rules are expired. They expired on October 7th, 2023. The department did submit an expiration report, which can be found in the FP packet, and explained that they have continued to provide reimbursement for these services due to statutory authority and also under their Medicaid state plan. But they haven't been, there's no fees or fines that are included in these rules. So that was the only comment that we had, but there was some concerns raised about the broadness of a couple of the requirements. So a conditional approval was filed to address these concerns, which is what the CA request packet is about. And there were a couple of changes made that seem to address the concerns. So I have nothing further on this.
Agency, any comments?
Good morning, Allison Radme, the administrator for the Administrative Rules Unit at the Department of Health and Human Services. And we have no further comments unless you guys have any questions.
Questions from the committee? Representative Lang.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank you for accommodating those changes. They were helpful. Thank you.
Of course, you're very welcome. Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on the 2560 conditional approval motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Business.
No, sir, no other business. We just need to cancel the meeting.
So we'll cancel the meeting. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm late. I literally can't get out of my head that we're not in that other building. So I'm in the parking garage and I'm looking and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Thank you. Oh, he did the same thing? All right, good. So it's not just me. I'm good. All right. Oh my gosh.
Hi, there's nobody else. All business in the community, not gonna say.